the candidates are upon us almost. It is exciting. First of all, before we start this episode, I want to know your prediction. Who do you think can take the spot?
I don't know. I think my two top picks would be Fabiano or Alireza.
Yeah, good choice. Yeah, Fabiano, out of a sudden, again, in a very good mood, right? Strong
What about
playing.
you?
I think one of the Indian talents will make it. It's going to be Prag or Gukesh. So
Okay.
I like those guys a lot anyway. And I that would be a big surprise, obviously. But I hope they can surprise one or another person. I believe they are absolutely diligent to look at plenty of openings and just like rock the boat from there. Let's see. So, but yeah, of course, candidates, this is what we're talking about. And I'm looking forward to this. You have prepared a lot. So let's dive right into this.
Yeah, so in today's episode, we'll look at the best tactics from some of the best players in the world who will be competing in the candidates this year. We have 8 contenders, and in this episode, you can solve 8 of their best combinations.
Perfect.
So it will vary from difficult to easier. And I wonder how many you can get out of 8 this time.
Yeah, exactly. Yes. Yeah, we did the same thing for the women because, of course, we shouldn't forget them, right? We're all talking about the men's candidates, but the women are competing as well. And yeah, we had some beautiful tactics. So let's see if I can top that. Okay, we're white and we're
We're going to be
winning.
white, and this is a game from Fabiano.
Fabiano against Mr. Ruslan Ponomaryov. It's from 2014. Alrighty.
Try to find the best move for white. It's not very long, but it takes a bit of time to understand it conceptually. So try to find it for white.
Okay, so I have an idea. A general idea is that I will try to get the queen away from the diagonal C to A, because after queen b5, we just wouldn't move too much forward because... Oh, maybe we would. We could.
Okay.
The other way around. So I have to just figure out in which direction I will go. At one point, the rook will go to e7. This is my prediction.
Okay. So you like it, you're going very much in the right direction right now. So the light squares are the key here.
Yes.
And rook e7 is also part of it.
Okay, so let us by the way, for you at home, please stop the video, figure it out for yourself. We have 8 more to go. So I would go, let's see what happens if I go with the queen to b5. I would assume queen c8, but also the king could go. No, the king cannot really. I think this would...
Yeah, so queen b5 is probably doesn't create too big of a threat, right? Because you're threatening queen a6, but the king would just go back.
Yeah.
But usually the issue in most of these light squares lines is that the black queen is protecting it with, let's say, queen c8.
I will try rook e7 now, because I think I have found it.
Rook e7 is the right move.
Wow, it's nice.
So it's a really nice sacrifice, but it's also impressive what the next move is.
This is what I didn't figure out, but it is bishop a6, right?
Yes, it is, but you figured it out now.
Yeah.
It is a very impressive tactic that I really like, because after the king takes, we have checkmate here, and otherwise there's no way to defend against the checkmate here on the next move. So you know what? It's actually, if you didn't get it, you shouldn't feel bad, because this is something that even the computer struggles to see for the first few seconds. It doesn't, like rook e7 is not even going to be its first suggestion at first, but once you put it on the board, it will...
So this is a bit tricky, because rook e7 was one of my very first ideas. Now, this would be like, hey, I'm a genius. But on the other hand, this game is from 2014. Who doesn't tell me once in my life I've seen this? Maybe even twice, right? And then I know like one synapse in my brain goes like, oh yeah, this was this pattern, and this goes like in this direction, right? So I wouldn't go that far, but rook e7 was the very first idea. So kudos.
No, it is nice. There's one more winning line, which is b4.
Oh.
And it's winning more in the long run. So just with something like a5 and opening up the king even more, and some of the tactics start to work out well for white. So that was another winning line, but rook e7 is really the one that does it immediately, and the game is over in 3 moves.
Happy with that. 1 out of 1, I think.
Yes.
Let's go to the next one. I'm ready. I'm ready for the candidates.
Yes. You're ready to take on all of them.
Yeah.
So this one is by Pragananda playing as black. So here, he had a very, very impressive attack before this, but it was so complicated that I decided to just focus on this one tactic, this one final moment. So what would you play here as black? Because this is a pretty tough situation with the queen trade being offered.
It does look interesting. So for you at home, let's try to solve this one, right? Okay, of course, my idea is that we can take away the queen on f2 at one point. This is also something which comes to mind. So now we just have to get the king far enough away, or at least away from the E file and the F file too. Maybe it is.
So let's calculate what happens if queen to F2, right? That should be like the first thing that we do.
Yeah.
Then bishop here.
But that can't work.
The thing is, in the initial position, we were down a piece. And after this, we are going to lose one of our pieces back. So it's going to be, it's going to be normal 2 pieces versus that, or just transpose into something like this, which would be equal material. So that's not what we want, but that's something to kind of know about this queen to f2 line, which is why we want to look for something different to go for the win.
Okay, so okay, I think I see it now, maybe. So I'm seeing something which is working because it's actually, I just have to figure out again in which direction. But part of it is to take, I'm pretty sure we have to take the rook on h4.
Okay.
Because if we take, but I just have to figure out the correct direction. So if we take the rook, the queen cannot take the queen, because now we just give, is it checkmate? Yeah, is it? Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah. That was the main part of the tactic that I wanted you to see.
Yeah, but the queen doesn't have to take. That's the problem.
Yeah, it doesn't.
So the queen takes there, and then how do we continue? Is it just a one position? No, there must be something better.
It is a pretty one position, but you can try to see the next move, but I think there's a few of them that win.
Yeah, there is a few of them, but how I'm struggling right now a little bit. Maybe because it's too easy. Is it just bishop taking on c2?
Yeah.
Is it that easy? Really? Okay, good. Okay.
You have threat here, you have a threat on the rook, and the king is going to be in a lot of trouble, and everything works out. So in the actual game, the opponent actually just gave away the queen and took a lot of pieces for it, but that wasn't enough because the queen and the rook in combination with the weak white's king was just too strong. But actually, I thought the most difficult part of the tactic, which you saw very quickly, was this one, is just to ignore that queen trade threat and to play here, even though it's only 2 moves, but it's just like that concept of actually realizing that the king has like no squares.
I believe, because you were showing the example before, it might have been a little easier to grasp.
That's true. I think we did see this game briefly at some point, but I don't know how much detail we went in.
It could also be, Yeah, very good.
Or maybe you've seen it because it was a famous example.
That could.
But anyways, I'll give you the point. I think you got that. So basically,
with my old rotten brain,
if you got bishop takes on h4, that's already a really good start, and you get the point.
The funny part is like, okay, I feel great now because I got 2 out of 2. But on the other hand, maybe we even had an episode, or I had another episode, or I was watching this and we had this example, and now I'm just like, what could it be? Actually, I'm the opposite of a genius. I'm like the...
Nobody will ever know if you're acting or not.
That is true, exactly. All right, very good. It just feels good, let's say it like that. Hope for you at home as well. Pablo, come on. I count on you. You can do it. Pablo is one of my favorite commenters.
Yeah, let's keep it up for the next examples too. This one is from Nepo. He's playing as white, and it's one of his old games that I thought was just a really, really nice tactic and move in itself. So what would you play here for white? Because the knight on c5 is in trouble. So how would you defend it or save it? What would be your strategy?
Yeah, good call. So I'm just irritated because it's so weird to see Nepomniachtchi with a rating of 2,500. That is like a rare occasion which you have to get used to.
It is an old game.
Yeah, it is an old game after all. So 2006, by the way. So yeah, nobody knew yet how amazing this player is after all, or little. Not nobody. Good. So we have to get the queen away from the knight on f6 because we want to take the knight on f6 somehow. There must be a way. I like rook e6 takes back. Check on h7 is another idea. So let's say like this. We don't care that much about trying to defend the knight. We have to attack. This is my prediction. Just how? It is more complicated than I thought, unfortunately. I'm trying to win some time here by talking a lot and thinking at the same
Bishop
time.
h7 and taking on e6 are both like valid ideas, but somehow they don't open up the king as much as we want it to. So
Gotcha.
Bishop h7, they'll take and go back, or if you take on e6, they'll take back with the pawn, and then the queen kind of starts defending the king a bit more. So none of these two are the one, but you did mention something right about the queen defending the knight, so it is part of it.
Yeah, so how can we get her away from there? Uh-oh, is this my first big struggle? No, it might not. That is an interesting move. Look at knight d7. That must be it.
Yes, you got it. Knight d7. It's something that can slip your mind because it's protected by 3 pieces.
That is really funky, yeah. Indeed.
But you're right. So knight d7. What was your idea?
So, well, I mean, bishop cannot take because we take the queen. I think that should be enough, right? Knight cannot take because we take the queen. That should be enough. So the only existing move is the queen takes, and then we just take the knight. And I think this is enough advantage because after the pawn goes to g6, is there another way to defend? I don't see it. Now our queen goes to h4. Oh, whoops, sorry, pardon. I mean, of course, f4.
Because otherwise there's
You're
h5.
right.
You
Yeah. Okay, it would have taken a second longer. And I think now queen d6. Oh, it's not working. Yeah. That's why
there's no defense,
queen
like
h4
no good
would have been
defense
wrong.
that I can see against this one.
Okay.
So that's right. So knight d7 was, to me, the most like impressive move of this game and really hard to see, especially in advance. But here, his opponent was also a very strong grandmaster. So he found actually a defense, which was knight to h5. And at this point, I mean, basically you already got the hardest part, which is knight to d7. So I can just show you how to defend against this knight h5.
Thank God, yeah.
So basically we're gonna take the queen, knight takes, and here it's a counter-attacking move, bishop to b4. So you want everything to be with a threat, right? Because we had 2 pieces hanging, so many things are hanging, so it's a lot of things to calculate.
This episode would have taken a bit longer.
Yeah, but still, the main part was finding knight d7. This one is just a matter of calculating all the rest. And essentially, after bishop goes to b4, as long as white puts their pieces a bit correctly, he repeated a few moves and then went knight to c5. The knight is still hanging. He saved both of his pieces from being under attack. And eventually, it was just a winning position based on his pieces just being so good, black having a lot of weaknesses, and black just couldn't defend all of them. Pawn on b7 fell, and then also problems started happening with the knight, the rook, and eventually he won the exchange and won the game. But knight d7 was the only move in that position to give white any sort of advantage and to keep that attack going. And knight h5 was just a miraculous save that black had.
What a game against Sergei Rublevsky. That is something to take a look at. Yeah, keep it on the list, guys. Alrighty. Very good, very good. Now we have Mr. Nakamura. Well, that would
now
be
we have Hikaru playing with black, though. And this example comes from the King's Indian defense, which I really like, and it always gives really attacking positions for black. So if here in this game, it's probably, if I had to explain to anybody what counterattacking is, this would probably be the game that would come to mind. So it's all going to be about counterattack.
Okay.
And you can try to find black's first move here, just to get the attack going.
Well, so I'm trying to take on g2. I mean,
exactly. That's the top thing we have to look at, and that is the right one. So at this point, white could have taken here on g2, which would have, kept it going. There would be a lot of things to calculate after rook to g7. I don't know if that was your idea with knight to g2, but I think probably most people either wanted to play rook here or maybe start pushing the pawns, something along those lines.
Yeah, I had a different idea. Let's not talk about that.
That wasn't your... No, but it's okay. But this didn't happen in the game. It's just one of the sidelines. And then your queen can also join, some more checks can come, or you can even win back that piece that we just sacrificed, and life is good. When you win back your sacrificed piece, your attack keeps going, but you're not really risking other things. But the most impressive part of this game was that white actually took on c7, which was a mistake, but it was really, really complicated. So now, what do you think black plays?
Well,
queen is under attack.
Queen is under attack. Maybe we just leave this queen where it is. So, obviously, we have a checkmate threat if we take away our knight. That's the fun part, right? The knight goes, for example, to h4. Maybe that's already the move. I'm not sure yet. And then we play g2 checkmate. So let's see where we can put the knight to best. I mean, we could just simply attack the queen on e3. We have to also see some alternatives. Of course, it would be very nice if we could get our queen to h4, for example. So
that's all good.
I think we have to move the knight. So now I just have to figure out where.
Yes, the knight moving is the right way to go.
So there's a couple of ways to defend it, unfortunately. Let's go with the very simplistic knight to e3 first. Now, no, only for calculation reasons.
Okay.
No, it's not the move.
You're not betting the whole money on it.
No.
Okay.
Okay. No. I
for calculation reasons, sure.
Yeah. So white can take back. Yeah. I mean, that's as simple as it is, right? We take away the knight, and that's all she wrote. So knight h4 it has to be in this case, because there we cannot take away the knight. That's my bet. It's wrong.
So that's not, you don't get the point. You get half a point for finding the idea and for finding knight to g2. But the actual solution is much, much simpler. Knight to e1.
Okay.
Because you get the rook in the process.
Oh, that's it. Oh, no.
And that's not it for the game, but that was the move at this point. Knight to e1, because you just get the rook with that exact same idea of keeping the queen and playing g2. I think the hardest part is just to realize that the queen can stay there and you can't have this checkmate threat, which you did realize. So you did the hardest part of the puzzle, but just not the actual move.
Thank you for the half point.
This was also a difficult part, is to how to keep the attack going after that. And I told you that this is going to be a very counterattacking example, because actually black's queen is going to stay there for a while, and everybody's going to pretend like it's not even hanging. King here
rook
takes the pawn. There was no choice there. The rook joins, so this was done to open up the file.
As soon as the king goes back, bishop h3, probably.
Exactly. You found my next question, which was bishop to h3.
Oh, sorry.
Keeping the counterattack going, keeping the queen under attack. And
that is cute.
Probably this next move is probably one of the more impressive ones as well out of the whole game. So if you get this one, then you can get the full point for this game.
Well, I see it immediately. It has to be queen d3.
Okay, you get the full point for the game. I wanted to do double or nothing, but
Well, thank you.
You already found it quickly. So you get the point.
It's maybe I saw it too at one point because but yeah, it looks just
It's a pretty
like
old game though. I tried to find examples that are like a bit older than like not all of them are very recent, but this is one of famous Nakamura's games in the King's Indian, so maybe it's possible that you've seen it before.
I still wonder what happens after queen f2. We just pick up knights, or after
we can maybe take the bishop first and then pick up the knights?
Exactly.
Something like that.
And that's it, right? We just win a couple of pieces. There's no forced checkmate or something.
I don't see it immediately.
That'll do. Of course, yeah. We take the bishop and then one of the knights, the more dangerous one, whichever that is.
And then start taking the knights, And
awesome.
It looks pretty good.
That is crazy. And that was a real game.
In the actual game, he went knight to e5. So it still wasn't over. And then you take on f1. And once again, the queen is hanging, but there's checkmate threats.
True.
So it's like that queen was just the hero of the whole game because it never got taken. And at this point, if white had played rook to a2 to defend the checkmate, black would have had to find the only move that wins, which is queen to a6. Which looks insane, but actually just protects the bishop. So that's the whole goal of it.
Wow.
Is that just keep the bishop protected, and then you are, well, you're up a rook. So that's, when you look at the whole game holistically, then you realize, okay, it's just a rook. So
what game is that? Yeah, absolutely
but
insane.
It was a really, really impressive game, and especially I liked that there was so much counterattack going for black, and that it was a really nice King's Indian win.
That is a perfect example indeed. Very good, very good. Okay, so
you have all the points so far.
Okay, well, with a little cheat,
because you found everything other than 91.
Good, you make the rules. I like that.
So we'll give it to you. All right, so the next one is from Vidit. He's playing as white, and try to find his tactic.
Okay, here we go. So you might think like, oh, it's less pieces that makes things easier, but well, that is not the case at all. Now, okay, so that is fun as well, but so the rook went to d4 for a reason, because the next move would have been crushingly knight to d5, I think. So...
Okay.
Svitlana's like, is that so? Maybe not.
What does the knight do on d5?
So if the rook would have been staying on e4, the knight goes to d5.
But there was a pawn there, so they kind of had
to. Okay.
But
maybe I'm just completely wrong, and I'm just okay. Let's never mind. No, maybe I was wrong. So I want to get the rook away from f5 to have more pressure on c5. Is that the whole joke? Is it just like taking on f5 and then rook c3?
Take on f5, you want to sacrifice the queen?
That's what I'm thinking, because we only have 2 rooks against the queen in this case, so it's not like a really satisfying...
Yeah, it wouldn't be.
But
the idea is right. You do need to focus on these 2 pieces. But the other thing is that you don't have to win the whole piece. That's what I'm going to say.
Okay. Well, I mean, it's very hard to defend. I don't think even black wants to defend. After rook c3, the rook would just take on f4, right?
Exactly.
Exchange
You're right. So rook c3 is not the move because of rook to f4.
So it just doesn't work like that.
And then black has rook f2 threats.
Yeah.
And
or
if
even
you take, well, then they'll take once again some rook f2 threats, so you can never really take on c5. You would have to defend, for example, like this, but that kind of that doesn't make it enough for an exchange. So sorry, but like what black has enough for an exchange.
Yeah,
so
I know what you mean. Yeah,
it's going to be a perpetual.
Ooh, this one is complicated for me. How come? So what to do now? I don't want to delay this for too long. I'll just try it for another 30 seconds or something. But I am a little troubled. Vidit, by the way, third Indian player who is part of this here. Still, I think Gukesh or Prague are more. But who knows?
Just because they're young, that's why you're saying it.
That's true.
But.
Okay.
Still.
Uh-oh, what to do here? I think I might have to concede here that I cannot find it. I just have to make a wild guess in that case. So, very unfortunately, I think it has to be knight takes g6.
How is your wild guess right? It is knight takes g6.
Well, it just looks quite crazy and correct.
The show is staged.
Okay, good.
At that point.
Well, that was close. Okay, but
no, but I'm joking, and you are right about knight to g6.
It looks like e7 is the nice spot for the knight, and I couldn't find. That's why I probably pointed out to d5 in the very beginning.
But that's why I'm so impressed that you found knight g6 in the last second.
Okay, good.
No, it's a great move, and if they take our knight, then rook to f5.
And then we could just
and then we can take this, and this is a winning rook endgame. Because you get 2 extra pawns, which is, that's why I said you don't have to win the full piece.
Yes,
but something like this is a winning rook.
This is important, of course, because we always look in those tactics for like some absolutely crushing thing. But it is actually just you just get a better position by this, and
But what you mentioned there with the e7 square, that's actually the whole beauty of this tactic is that if black takes there or does anything else, then knight to e7 is what happens in the game, and that's actually how the game continued.
Wow.
And sure, black got two pieces for the queen, but it wasn't enough, and this was winning for white. As long as they don't get mated, everything is good.
Nice.
So that was knight g6 was the tactic. So good job on finding it. I really thought this was going to be your first miss.
Yeah, me too. But a wild guess is always good. So if I would have like 30 seconds on the clock, I would have probably played that move.
Well, that's good. That means you have a good intuition at this point for these tactics. That's why we're doing them. So this one is white to play, and it's from Nijat Abbasov, who is one of the more surprising players in the candidates.
True.
And he got there by doing really, really well, having a historic performance in the World Cup last year. So that's one of his games from that tournament for him. I think most people have seen it before because it was one of his really nice wins against Fabiano. So what would you play here for white? That's...
yeah, so... okay, so I see...
Do you remember it?
No, I'm afraid not. So, but I see some nice ideas at least. So I guess at one point our queen takes h6, so we can take on g8 with a checkmate. But before all of this can happen, we have to get rid of the rook on d8. That's just a simple idea for now. I'm wondering what happens if we just play f5. This is just calculating. This is not my final guess.
You're already so scared to ruin the perfect score.
Yes, it's true. Of course. If out of a sudden I'm really involved here.
Yeah.
So but it cannot be, it must be too slow. F5 is too slow. So what happens if we just takes? Yeah,
don't worry about the checkmate right away. Help. Don't worry about the checkmate right away, but there is only one winning line here.
Okay. Well, that doesn't work either. Oh, okay.
Yeah, this
time
one is a bit
ticking.
less like straightforward and more about like set up an attack.
Ooh, yeah. Okay, you're giving me so many hints, and I still haven't really figured it out yet. Now, as Yasa Sairaban once said, invite all players to the party, or all pieces, or everybody to the party if you attack. But our knight is just like so far away, and it takes too long to get them involved.
Exactly.
Unless we take on h7, then our knight goes to e4, and that must be it.
It is. Like, did you get access to my files before before the lesson or something?
No.
It is.
Unfortunately not.
You're doing amazing today.
It would be a much quicker show.
And no, but actually, it's your whole training that's paying off.
I like that sentence. Thank you, Svitlana.
Yes,
I will put this in my last edit of the video.
Yeah. Your perfect score in tactics today.
Yeah, that feels great, to be honest.
94, exactly. So as I've said, this tactic is not checkmate immediately, but it is about setting up the attack. And now you see a lot of threats, knight f6, knight g5. And exactly, we needed to invite this knight to the attack too. The game didn't finish because Fabio played queen to e7. And now, I mean, there is one more move. This one is not for points because there's a couple of things that work, but you can try to guess it.
Away the pressure. I mean, I would have gone immediately for knight g5. I think if
knight g5 also wins.
Also, okay, good.
It's not what happened in the game, but knight g5 would also win because of
d3
takes,
rook takes
here, something like this, works out.
Okay. Is it knight d3 then? Also
what
not.
Knight d3?
Knight d3, queen d3, I mean, sorry.
Queen d3 is pretty interesting, but no, that's not it, I guess.
Yeah, there's a pawn coming in between.
Yeah.
No. So rook takes g7, right? And then we give a check on f6.
Rook takes g7 is fun. I didn't think of that, but no, that wasn't what I
also
thought
not.
of.
Okay, good.
Rook g7
no
is fun though,
that.
because I didn't look at it immediately. You wanted something like this?
Yeah, but now
that is so fun.
I mean, and then
does it win?
Finally,
no, wait.
Finally, our push to f5, or we're.
I can't tell if that wins. I feel like it doesn't.
Queen h4, and the king goes back to g7. How nasty!
Or
the queen goes back.
So maybe not rook g7, but that's like one of the top tactics to see. So it's.
Now wait. Can I just sorry guys? Yeah. It's a longer episode, but you know what? Sometimes a longer episode is nice too, right? So what happens? I just want to know. Instead of going with the queen to g3, let's play. Wait, what was it earlier? What was? Can you go one move back?
There's no rook.
There's no rook. No. We have. Well, yeah, we. Or do we? Yeah, we have to take, and then f5. So we take, and then f5.
But what does it threaten?
No, it doesn't threaten anything. So because after that, no, it's not working. It's not working. Never mind.
No worries. It's all part of the tactics. So
experience.
It made a lot of sense. Rook g7 was a good find. It's just that we gave away too many pieces and it didn't work here. But generally, that's a good tactic to know. Okay. So in the actual game, he played f5.
It was f5. I can't believe it.
With all of these very similar ideas to what we've just been discussing. And Fabio actually resigned here, but I can just show the line of what happens after e takes f5. Do you see it?
Well, if you ask me like that.
When you have to.
Probably not. So. Oh, yeah, now I see it. Okay, it took a while. Knight f6 check.
Perfect. Hopefully you at home also found it, because that's like one of the nice tactics that didn't happen in the game because Fabio resigned right before it, but it would have been so nice. So after this,
now queen sacrifice.
Perfect. You got it.
Goody.
You earned your full point.
Thank you. All right.
Yes.
How many more?
So
How many more candidates are there?
I think 2.
Okay.
So it is a bit
We're
of a
almost
longer
there.
episode. So yeah, there is 2 games left. Next up, we have Gukesh, who is one of your favorites.
Okay.
And just because we've seen so many attacking tactics towards the king, I wanted to include one more positional tactic here.
Okay.
So it is white to move.
We have to trap the queen. How?
I also don't know how. But if you find it, let me know.
I don't know how. Oh, this is, what kind of position is this? This is insane. Now, I love this idea of, which is not working. Pity. I would have loved
more positional tactic.
Yeah.
You don't necessarily have to win something, but it's to improve the position by a lot.
Here comes my downfall, ladies and gentlemen. As much as I love the tactics, the positional play is where I normally fall apart still, unfortunately. Now, oh, the options are incredible. So much to do. The poor guy, poor chess players who have to deal with this.
Have to endure this.
So what happens after taking on d5? The black takes back with d5, knight d5, and then I thought about bishop c4, and then, I mean, the next threat would have been e4 maybe.
Yeah.
What can black do to defend? Can black not just take on c6 with the queen maybe?
Yeah, they can. That's exactly it.
Yeah. And then
bishop c4 is not it, but like c takes d5 is okay. C takes d5 is also one of the good moves. It's not as like
brilliant
like
as
poetic to me as the actual move in the game.
Okay.
But like it still leads to a better position for white. So it's like I wouldn't say it's a complete miss.
Okay, so there's one poetic, beautiful move, but I don't know the reason why.
I mean, at least to me, I don't know if you'll find it as.
So I will give. I don't see anything, to be honest. So I will do my wild card, my wild guess, and even with the chance of losing a point here, but only because of the poeticness. But then again, no, let's take on c5
with the pawn.
Yeah, wasn't good.
But then they'll take back.
Yeah, exactly. No, that was my wild guess. I wouldn't have known why.
No, all good. The thing is, I can't fully take away your point, so I guess you'll get half a point, or I don't even know, maybe full, because this one is also a good move. But like this is also a good move, and it's combined with that idea.
Okay.
But to me, the most poetic move here, and the one that he played in the game, was e4. I don't know about you. I've never seen pawns look like that.
Yeah. I mean, what a pity that I didn't see that. Yeah. Absolutely. It's so, you gave all the clues. I think you at home saw it too. So well done for doing this. This is amazing.
Idea behind it?
No. But we can take on d5.
No matter where black takes, no matter where they take, you get a really insane pawn chain. No matter where they take.
Yeah.
Let's say like this, you get it too. They take like this, you get it too. So that's the whole idea of this tactic, is that to recognize that if you ever get these pawns all protecting each other, that's just a crushing advantage for white.
That is awesome. Yes. I love it. Yeah, this is very, very beautiful indeed.
Okay. But it was more about, you see, it's not like a king focus tactic.
Fine. But, that's totally fine. Those are part of the tactics.
C takes d5 works too, by the way. It still gives white a better position, so I cannot say that it's wrong.
This, as much as you want to give me half a point here, I'll take 0 points here. I want to be part of this game, which is quite okay.
In the actual game, they took with the knight, which was the only way to not allow these pawns. And at the end of it, he got 2 pawns instead of 3, but it was still a nice advantage, and these pawns ended up advancing even further, but we don't have to look at the rest of the game. The pawns were just really, really strong.
How cool.
And won the game eventually. So now the last one,
All
which
right.
is probably the hardest one, although we'll see.
Nice.
This one is from Alireza Firouzja, and he is playing as white.
Okay, we have to take on b7 with the rook.
Instant. Okay, so it is rook takes b7. So that means you've seen, that means you've done a lot of tactics. If you see that instantly, that's good. So rook takes b7, you're right.
Didn't want to spoil it for you at home.
You see that the rook is standing weirdly there, and you're like, yeah, something has to be.
Interestingly, that wasn't the reason. My reason was I need to get the knight away, because now we take on e6, right?
Not yet, actually.
No, not at all.
Not yet, actually. But knight e6 is part of a lot of lines. So it's kind of interesting that you mentioned that.
In this case, we play e5 first.
Yes, exactly.
That was the two options.
You didn't even... Yes, exactly. So you already getting all the right moves, even without the calculation, which is good. Like, it means your intuition is developed.
That feels nice.
Imagine if you combine your intuition with actual calculation at the board, then you're unstoppable.
Unstoppable. Next candidate.
Yes, you're coming for them. So basically, this was a game where Alireza was playing against a 2100 opponent, but it was such an amazing attack that I think it includes like super amazing tactics that I would want you to try to find.
He's a monster.
So rook b7 was my first tactic that I wanted you to find. And then it's followed by e5. And basically, it's funny that you mentioned knight e6 before, but that's the moment where it works. In case black takes, they didn't take, so we'll get to that. They played d5 instead. So after d takes e5, knight to e6 is a really, like, really complicated. But basically, if the queen trade happens, then we are going to do this. And despite the fact that right now black is up a rook, we actually gain all of that material back, if not more.
Okay.
Through,
well,
some lines we want to take the bishop, sometimes the knight, sometimes that rook. So all of these pieces are kind of falling apart. So that line is winning because of that.
Nice. Obviously, I never ever could have seen this. This was really just intuition.
Me neither. Like knight to e6 is really hard to see in advance, especially combined with the two previous moves that were also sacrifices. And then after this, to me, this was the position that was the hardest to evaluate, is because here you're down a rook, but I guess Alireza knew that he was winning because that bishop, is super strong. Bishop h6, bishop g5, whatever it is, next move. And he just kind of probably felt that this was winning. Knight d5. I guess it is winning the more you look at it, but it's just hard to go for without a rook.
That is true. Okay, so...
But the more you look at it, the more you realize that it is winning, and you see why. But to me, that's amazing to see all the way from, that moment when he took on b7.
Yeah, absolutely.
Regardless, the opponent played d5. And now, I mean, you can guess what he does, but I think you already know it.
I already know it. Oh no!
Well,
oh no!
No?
There's again a lot of options for me. So,
Okay.
I mean, so taking on e6 is not that effective anymore.
Right.
So we have to probably take on d5. But
exactly, that's why.
Yeah, but
that's why I thought it would be the top thing to look at for once we're already in an attacking and sacrificing mode. We can take with whatever on d5.
With whatever even. Okay, I wasn't sure because
even bishop or knight. Both of them work. They're slightly different, but both of them should work. And then after knight to f5, we get an amazing attack. The pawn on d5 is going to be weak. And at the end of it all, he just casually, attacks some pieces, plays queen to g4, starting an attack. And after g6, I mean, you can try to find what he did as white, but, a lot of things win here. But
okay,
it's still part of the attacking masterclass.
Oh, I mean, look, what I would wish for, of course, is to put the bishop on b2 and the knight gives a checkmate on h6.
That would be so nice, right?
So how about, is that almost possible? Bishop g5 and bishop f6?
Honestly, I wouldn't be surprised if that wins as well. It probably should.
Because the queen cannot even take on d5.
It cannot, right?
So it would have been f6 is the only move. Whoa, well, what?
f6 is not a legal move.
Oh my goodness! What to do?
Bishop g5. I'm not surprised if bishop g5 wins as well.
What? It says it's a wrong
but
move.
it's not what he did. So I wonder if like queen d7, queen
can
c8?
The queen maybe
none of
take?
None of them. Look, is it this? No, it's not either. I also don't know what it is if not that.
Yeah. I thought about this. Oh no, no, it's not.
But not queen b6. Okay, so this is like way too complicated for.
That is cray.
Okay, no, but the thing is, I forgot that we were down.
We were down a rook.
Millions of material.
Yeah. All right. Okay. Cool.
No, now there is a problem actually here.
So.
You're right.
I should be careful.
It might still win. You know, it might still win.
Okay. Yeah. Nonetheless. Yeah. So how else did he do it? What about knight h6 check? Is that
knight
something?
h6 check also wins, I think.
I mean, there's
actually this is a way better version of your knight of your bishop g5 because now there's no taking. There's no business with taking and attacking our queen back. This is winning. This I'm sure is winning.
Oh, but now
so you found that counts to me. That counts. You found rook b7. Okay. I can show you what he did in the actual game.
Yeah, please.
Because there's a couple of ways to win there, but the one that he chose I really like. It's e6.
Okay.
So just, undermining that f7 pawn, which was the main defender for black. And then, so obviously there's never queen here because of the knight. And if queen to f6, then e7. And here he plays, to me, that was like a really, really nice finish. He plays bishop to f7. And the problem is, if the queen takes, then there's knight h6. And if the king takes, you see it?
Queen c4 check?
Yes, and mate. Well, after this. So, yeah. So that was
cute.
One of his attacking masterclasses. Of course, all of these players that I've mentioned from the candidates, they have so many more, amazing tactics and games that they've played in their lifetime. I try to find the ones that were a bit less common for a lot of these players, and I hope you enjoyed it and got as many points as you can out of 8.
Yeah, I think I ended up with 7 if we're very generous, but you've been very generous after all. And of course, this was one of my favorite shows of yours ever because
really
it feels good to make points. And yeah, the tactics were great. Well chosen, Svitlana. I mean, what else to expect? Thank you everybody for watching. Thank you, Svitlana. Yeah, let's see those candidates and look at what they are offering. Looking forward to this. Bye-bye.